Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez. Behind the scenes is Nicole Letson, and we are so glad you're here because it's story time. Basri Ket is a new planeswalker introduced in Core Set 2021, but if you weren't paying attention during previews, it was easy to miss his story. So today, we're going to share everything we know about Basri and kick off what we hope will be a new series here on Arcanum. We're calling it Flavor Winds. Basically, I'll spend the first part of the video giving you some idea of who a character is and looking at some of their iconic cards. Then, we'll switch over to Magic Arena, where we put those cards into a deck, and I will attempt to not embarrass myself as I pilot said deck to some flavor wins. Sound good? Before we get started, let me say a quick thank you to my patrons. You guys make it possible, and I am so grateful for your support as we try new and different ideas, including things like Flavor Wins. Okay, so Basri Ket. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? Is he the one who leaves that sandy gunk in my eyes while I sleep? Here's the basics. Basri Ket is a human planeswalker from the plane of Amonkhet. He is centered in white mana, and his powers are sand-based, as you can probably gather from looking at his card. Amonkhet, as you may recall, was mostly destroyed during the Hour of Devastation, thanks to Nicol Bolas. But Basri's origins come before that. Well, before some of that. Each of the 5 monocolored planeswalkers in M21 got a special card frame to highlight the spells and locations related to them. For Basri, we got this plains set here on Amonkhet before everything went sideways. Like many people from this plane, Basri grew up worshipping Oketra, one of the ever-present gods. With a face like a cat and a bow that shoots golden arrows, Oketra was the god of solidarity. Her teachings focused on the value of teamwork and togetherness, and all of this spoke to Basri. Now, when you come of age on Amonkhet, you must undertake the trials. These are a series of challenges overseen by the various gods, and anyone who completes all 5 is then ceremoniously killed by Hazaret and added to the army of Eternals ready to serve Nicol Bolas. But the initiates, or crop mates as they are called, did not know that whole story when they were starting out. So along comes Basri and his crop, and he is just crushing on Oketra hard, and he eagerly starts her trial, which is the first of the 5. She fires one of her golden arrows across this big arena, and then all of these monsters start coming out of the walls, ready to attack both the arrow and Basri's team. So they have to work together to reach the arrow before the monsters get to it. And what do you know, with Basri's leadership, they make short work of the challenge. Basri picks up Oketra's arrow to claim victory, and he is so overwhelmed with pride and accomplishment, EA Games tries to sell him a loot box. Nicole thinks nobody's going to get that reference. It's okay if you don't, but it is worth Googling it. Anyway, do you remember in our Explaining Planeswalkers video when I said most of the time when a spark ignites, it is due to intense personal trauma? Well, Basri is one of the exceptions. His emotional state was highly positive, but it was still enough to whisk him away from Amonkhet on his first random planeswalk to a destination still unknown to us. By the time he returned to his home plane, things were a mess. Oketra and most of the other gods were dead, and the sun-drenched city of Naktamun was now a smoldering ruin. Realizing that his powers of leadership would still be useful to the survivors of the Hour of Devastation, Basri committed himself to the teachings of Oketra, vowing to spread her message of solidarity both here on Amonkhet and across the multiverse. So that's his origins. Let's take a look at his design. His clothing mimics the face of Oketra. He's got an empty belt where he would be hanging the cartouches that he would have won by completing the rest of the trials. And his weapon is a sort of bladed spear. It's actually made out of the arrow he picked up right before his spark ignited. He can use his pocket sand to create a protective barrier that also enhances the abilities of anyone that it surrounds. He is a paladin type character, which works a little differently in this game than in some others, but the core idea is the same. Basri is lawful good. He follows his deity devotedly and spreads her teachings through his own actions. Most paladins wear heavy armor, but he continues to wear attire that is more appropriate for the hot sands of Amonkhet. And his magic is focused on buffs, so we see that represented through a lot of +1/+1 counters. Core Set 2021 gave us a few other Basri framed cards, so we're going to put them into our Flavor Winds deck. First, let's take a closer look at them and see what else we can learn about this noble planeswalker. Basri's Acolyte. Aside from Oketra, there were no cat-faced humanoids on Amonkhet, so Basri must have met this cleric somewhere else. The battlefield makes me think Dominaria, and indeed there are cat-type people there, so this could be the first indication of where else Basri has traveled. Basri's lieutenant, a human knight, who would also be at home on Dominaria. The interesting bit here is that the horse looks an awful lot like Crested Sunmare, who did live on Amonkhet. The ears aren't quite the same shape though, so I don't think that that's proof Basri brought knights to Amonkhet or anything. It's more likely just a stylistic tribute. Lastly, Basri's Solidarity. This simple sorcery is a reference to Oketra's Trial of Solidarity, the one in which Basri had his spark ignite. He has found a way to make sure her teachings endure after her passing, and the art here also has an interesting collection of characters. The presence of yet another cat person does narrow down which planes we could be looking at, but I, once again, think it's Dominaria. That central figure has a sort of feather or decoration at the center of their forehead, which reminds me a bit of Zalfirin Decoy, and that was painted by the same artist as this card, and that card does take place on Dominaria. And when you use Basri's ability to make a soldier token on Arena, it creates one using the Dominaria soldier art, which could be coincidence because they do reuse token art, I know that. But taken all together, I think we're onto something here. So in summary, I think the next time we go to Dominaria, we will see more evidence Basri was there, or he will be in the set himself, perhaps as his first appearance outside of M21. Basri Ket has some big shoes to fill as the replacement to Gideon, serving as the new defensive yin to Elspeth's offensive yang. They do have some overlapping mechanical space, but we get to put Basri to the test himself as we switch over to Arena for the second half of this Flavor Win. If you don't want to stick around for the games, that's totally fine, I understand. But I will thank you now for watching, and I will ask that you leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Basri. Has he been to Dominaria? Is his M21 card any good? Should they have just used Teo instead? Let me know what you think, and then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Everybody else, let's go play some Magic. All right, here's a quick look at my Basri-themed deck. We're going to start off with 4 Anointed Chorister, a single Light of Hope, just to have something in there that's kind of inspiring. You know, I don't know. Sentinel Eyes gives us Vigilance and a little buff on somebody if we need it. Speaker of the Heavens, probably better than the Anointed Chorister, but if you don't have the wild cards for it, whatever. Stonecoil Serpent, this is super crucial against like Ugin and Teferi and things like that. It's not a great flavor fit for Basri, I admit, but you could imagine something like this living in the deserts of Amonkhet, I guess. Solidarity, as we already said. This cat is great because it has Vigilance, which means we can play that on 2, and then Basri on 3, give the cat a counter and attack with it without leaving Basri defenseless. I thought Vigilance and Lifelink were 2 of the best ways to take advantage of all the extra counters, so that's kind of what we're going for here. We've got a single Unbreakable Formation. Splendor Mare here can give Lifelink to somebody if we need it, or just has it himself. Omen of the Sun. I didn't want to do a ton of Theros stuff. I was trying to save that for Elspeth, but this also kind of fits with Basri again, making soldiers, gaining a little bit of life, kind of buying us some time against the aggressive decks. Mace of the Valiant. This is supposed to kind of be his weapon. The other option was Shadow Spear, but again, more of an Elspeth thing. I do like how this one gives Vigilance to somebody, so again, those counters get to kind of work on offense and defense. And this is just going to keep getting bigger and bigger the more creatures we play. And since his ultimate makes a new creature every turn, that can get out of hand pretty quick. Basri's Lieutenant is certainly the best out of the 4 drops that we've got here. I did slip in one Mangara, who's from Dominaria. And like I said, I think Basri's been there, although Mangara would not have been alive at that point, but whatever. And then one of the Acolytes, probably the weakest of the 4 drops, but I was committed to using every Basri card at least one time. Cavalier of Dawn gives us a big top end. He's a knight, which we've kind of seen Basri working with here. And it's kind of a generic theme, could fit on any plane, including Dominaria, so we'll take it. Lands are pretty simple, 20 planes, a single field of ruin to represent his destroyed home on Amonkhet, and some castles just to give us more ways to create tokens that can then receive those +1/+1 counters. That's the deck. I have no idea how this is going to do. Let's jump into some games and find out. Okay, here we go. Basri Ket, flavor win. We go first. We got 3 lands. We got some stuff to do in the... yeah, let's keep it. Alright, we're going to open with that plains. I think we'll keep this Serpent for a 2-drop, probably. We're up against Bezim, starting off with a Banehound for that quick 1 point of damage. Where were you last turn? Let's see, Lifelink and Haste doesn't have Death Touch or anything, so we'll give him a 2-drop Serpent here. See how they like that. Alright, so we got 2 out of the 3, Basri cards. Death Touch, always fun to play against, and a Scorpion. Okay. So a bunch of small black creatures. We're probably going to see Call the Death Dweller, or maybe they're going to mutate these into something bigger and scarier. Put down a castle, and this is good. Now we have 4 lands. We'll be able to get our Lieutenant or Acolyte out. So do we want to keep Omen as our surprise? I think so. We'll just wait, let them make the first move. Basri is a pretty defensive character, so I think we're playing in character here. Nice and slow. Let them exhaust themselves. Lurrus. It has one downside with this deck. It has no actual removal in it, really. So I don't know how we're going to get this thing off the table. We're going to flash in our Omen. Block, and block. And now we get to eat pretty much his whole board, although he will be able to bring it back with Lurrus starting next turn. We just have to apply pressure before he gets that opportunity. This is fun. Stone Coil is actually protected from Lurrus because he's multicolored. So we can just keep loading this up with counters and getting right by him. He's probably going to bring back the Death Touch Vampire, if I had to guess. Big brain, very smart. Alright. So these Death Touch little guys are going to be a problem because they're just going to keep coming back. And as I've said, we don't really have a way to neutralize Lurrus. We just have to kind of go through it. Although I guess we do have the Cavalier. That would kill it. Oof, brutal. Why would you not kill the Serpent, which is far more dangerous? Okay, so we can play a Speaker and Acolyte and get 2 counters off of her. I don't want to attack into a Death Touch Vampire, so no attacks. But next turn I'm fine throwing the Acolyte, maybe even the Speaker in there. I just don't want to give up Stone Coil yet. Yara, okay. Interesting. Man, more lands than we really need. Alright. Well, free attack basically with him. And we'll put down our cat. So we need, what, 27 life, and we can start making angels. Don't know if we're going to get there if we're getting drained by a Yara every turn, but we'll try. Attacks with a Yara. No, no, doesn't do that. We're going to scry with our Omen and see if we can find something useful. It's going to be 2 lands on top, I bet you. Ooh, 1 land. Unbreakable Formation. Certainly don't need that land. Do we want Formation? It's going to put 3 counters down. Make our team able to ignore that Death Toucher for a while. I think that's actually pretty good. So we'll leave that there. And then slam it. And now we can just get a free attack in for a decent chunk of damage. Take all of it. Okay. This is where we'd love to see Basri because we have a pretty good defensive line. I love Magic Arena. You have no idea what you're going to ever come up with. We could just destroy it. Or put a counter on somebody. Or gain 4 life and be that much closer to making angels. I think this thing is going to slowly make us sad. So... yeah, let's just destroy it now. This isn't really big enough to be a threat. They'll just block it and kill it. This is big enough to be a threat, so they could just block and kill that. I think we will still wait and maybe make a token at the end of their turn. Or before that, if we need a blocker. We will create a human from the Castle Ardenvale, which we will gladly exchange with that vampire. Alright, Basri, this is your deck, man. You gotta show up and start doing something. Interesting timing on the Black Lance Paragon, because that's got flash, and you can do that anytime you want. Didn't I just say? Get here, Basri. Okay, so how do we use him most effectively? Speaker, getting lifelink, and bigger. I mean, it has lifelink. Giving it indestructible with the vigilance means it can now attack for free and gain us some life. So we'll just send that in. Kapow. All right. This is good. If we can keep him alive, getting that ultimate, which then spams out tokens, can keep up with everything that Luris is doing. The trick is, don't let Basri die. And their board is getting very wide, and as I keep saying, we really don't have any way to prevent that. Alright, attacking with... probably going to be everything but Ayara and Luris, sure. Alright, 4 attackers, only 3 blockers. We can't even make a castle token. So, you can block the big one. You can block anything you want. And you can block that. We're going to let the Death Touch get through. And you clean out a good chunk of their board.
No peace for the unworthy.
Another Serpent. Okay, well first, we will... get in our free attack with an increasingly dangerous Speaker of the Heavens, who works great with Basri. Probably should have went with 4 of this guy, but you know, wild cards are a thing. And okay, so now, do we make a massive Stonecoil Serpent just to have it die to the vampire, or do we keep 4 lands up so we can make a token? I think we'll just do that. We could have made an angel. We should have made an angel. You can only do that at sorcery speed. That's fine. We'll get another shot at it next turn, right? We'll have 27 life again. Just the vampire. Easy. So this is good. They're not putting a ton of pressure on Basri. He might lead us to victory here, which is exactly what we want to see on Flavor Wins. Another land. Okay. Counter up. And they still have nothing with Death Touch on defense. So not that it would matter with an indestructible speaker. We'll go to combat. Get him in there. Okay. So now that we can make an angel token, we don't necessarily have to keep mana for the castles. So we'll... How much do we have? Oh, I can't even QQ it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Does that look right? Everything, yeah. Alright, again, Stone Coil, not the best flavor fit for Basri, but clutch card, the protection from multicolor is really great, reach is really great, and once we're big enough to just trample through, that's also going to be really great. So, trying to figure out how to get rid of Basri. 2 cards in hand. They got some mana over there. I haven't seen anything that really kills planeswalkers yet. Although black certainly has the tools to do it. Spark Harvest will do it! Why do I do this to myself? Why do I always say exactly what the opponent needs to beat me? I just do it for them. Another land. Alright, can we just kill them if we swing all out? These guys trample. This guy is big. This is big. I think if they don't do a lot of blocking, they take a ton of damage. So let's... I'm not even going to count. I'm not going to do the math. We're just going to get in here with everything and put some real pressure on Bzim here. Bzim, what's it going to be? Don't. All right, well, speaker is going down. Kind of expected that. We're giving up a Yar. We're giving up the Banehound. Interesting. Yeah, trample through. Yeah, trample through. Exaxes. Flavor win. Oh no, they had lifelink. Oh, it's not a flavor win yet. Next turn. Next turn. This is going to be a flavor win for Basri. Calling it now. That's fine. You can have it. The R is back. Yeah. Still not going to be enough. The angel alone still has you dead. Angel still is going to win it for us. So I called it a little prematurely, but this is still, well, you know what? From the sands of Ket. I'm not even going to give him a chance to get any lifelink here. We're just going to kill him with an angel. Which, not super flavorful for Basri, but I'll take it. That's a flavor win! Alright, let's do one more. See if we can get a double flavor win out of this. We've got some lands. We got an early play. Some later stuff. I don't love it. There's a gap in the middle, but I think we'll be keeping this. As soon as Badger Hands decides if they're keeping their 7 or not. Okay. Hello, hello. Are you a fan of Basri Ket? Okay, we're going to start with one of our choristers. Choristers? It's a chorister. Shocks himself again. Is this going to be black-white vampires? Are we going to see Luris? Are we going to see Sorin come down? I don't... Where are we going with this? We're going to revitalize. Maybe looking for a third land? No attack, even with the... interesting. Alright, well, we'll propose a trade. I don't think they're going to take it. So when I say propose a trade, I mean I'm going to attack with this guy, knowing full well that they can block it and both creatures will die. I'm okay with that, because I have another creature. And now if they don't have anything else, we're coming out ahead. We're also ahead on life, and we're ahead on the board. That's a good spot to be, especially in the early turns. So we can kind of set things up the way we like it, and then keep pressure on our opponent. Next turn, it's probably going to be the mace coming down, since we don't have anything else, really. Charming Prince. Scry 2. So what are we looking for? Maybe you call it a Death Dweller. Maybe a Planeswalker. Maybe a 4th land. Keeping something on top. All right. Ooh. That's a much better turn 3 than the mace. All right. So down comes Basri Ket, the namesake for the deck. We get to make an indestructible 2/2 with lifelink. Do we send it to attack, though? Probably not. I think we're just going to keep this one on defense because we don't have vigilance, and then they'd get to hit Basri back with the prince. So we'll make them work for it. Pad your hands. Considering their every move. Figuring out how they're going to handle this most sandy of planeswalkers. See, there's the Dominaria soldier token. So has he been there? I think so. There's a Sorin, just like I predicted. Just like I predicted. So what are you going to do? You're going to just ping Basri? Sure. You're going to trade your Charming Prince? No. Really would have loved a 4th land here. Really, truly. We will toughen up.
My sand will
I think we need to try and get Sorin out of here. Doesn't block with the prince. So we'll put down our own defense. Sorin's just going to keep chipping away at Basri, so we've got to get rid of Sorin. And as I keep saying, this deck has like no real removal aside from Cavalier, which we are a long way from casting. Another Revitalize. Fine. Keeping that life total nice and high. Revitalize is a great card. It was clutch in my 4th of July special with the fireworks, which you should go back and watch if you haven't already. Alright, we've decided to bring back a Death Touch Vampire. Makes sense. And then we're still thinking about what to do with the rest of our turn. Gonna do nothing. Okay, we found a 4th land. Let's get Lieutenant down there. You gonna kill something in response? No. Okay. We'll put the counter. It is nice, right? Right. We got a little theme going here. An opponent recognizes. Okay, and then we will make an indestructible 4/4 with lifelink. Or try to. If they're holding like Grasp of Darkness or something, I'll be very sad.
Now is the time to strike.
Okay. They might have Heartless Act, which they're finding is useless once these counters get piled on. And we will, again, try to go after Sorin. They can block. I will not die, but they will. They cannot block and lose Sorin. Alright, so they give up the Vampire. And our life total is now big enough that if we draw the Herald Guide to make some angels, we'll be in really great shape. Of course, there's only 2 in the deck, so... More importantly, though, if we can keep Basri... Hey! That's a flavor win for Basri! They concede they can't handle the sand magic. I think we're going to end it here. That was a lot of fun. As you can see, Basri kind of competitive. Maybe, sort of. I don't know. I'm going to keep working on this deck. More importantly, though, I'm going to start working on the rest of the Flavor Win series. We're going to do this for all of the M21 Planeswalkers. Not Ugin, because he doesn't have signature cards in there. And everyone's sick and tired of seeing him anyway. In the meantime, leave me your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the rest of Flavor Wins. I'll see ya!